Hey. Okay, we are back. So, you may have been told you need capital to start your business, but Rose Meta Morgan would tell you to start with a chair and then build to the bank. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you to a woman who actually turned a rented chair into one of the largest Black beauty parlors in the world, turned a haunted house into a 3-story beauty complex, 10,000 people lined up to see in the rain, and then used her salon money and receipts to help found New York City's only Black-owned commercial bank at the time. And if you've never heard her name, then today is your lucky day. By the end, you're gonna walk away with 3 lessons, okay? 3 lessons. How to treat your little service business like seed money for an empire, how to use relationships and receipts when banks say no, and how to think beyond getting paid to building your version of the chair, the building, and the bank. Because who don't need that, right? So let's talk about Rose Meta Morgan and why I can't start without capital is a lie that she disproved decades ago. So welcome back to Deleted History, 28 Days of Black Women They Prayed You'd Never Hear About. My name is Ashley Kirkwood, and I'm about to get into this story. But first, I want to thank the hundreds of you who have already gotten on the wait list for Black Women Sell Live. If you have not already, comment the word waitlist wherever you're watching, and my team will get you the actual wait list. Comment the word waitlist on Instagram, or if you're not on Instagram, go on over to blackwomensellavent.com, and get on the wait list for Black Women Sell Live, okay? It's gonna be such a good event. I already know that. Y'all already know that at this point too. And to prove to you how good of an event it is going to be, check out our incredible history-making trailer for this event to just show you how much we are putting into this. Mary Ellen Pleasant. How did she do it? Oh, I wish I could just screw myself. Mary Ellen Pleasant? This can't be real.
Real or not, you've been carrying quite the load.
You see, wealth isn't always about what you keep. It's what you connect.
Ida B. Well?
When I wrote, I didn't just report, I revealed.
Right on time.
So it wasn't luck, it was strategy. We have always been so innovative.
You're not starting something new, you're continuing something sacred.
I want to teach every Black woman business owner in the world about you.
When I started this company, it wasn't just about selling hair care. It was about dignity, independence, community. That's what real marketing does. It doesn't just sell, it lives.
See, a true sale is not made in the pocket, it's made in the heart. Now, you go on and sell live, not for the applause, but for the impact.
All right, y'all, that is our trailer, and I'm so excited about this event. I really feel like if more of us knew who we came from, we'd operate differently. And so this event, of course, is going to be like our other events where we go deep into sales strategy, deep into sales business, teaching you all the strategies that we can teach you. But it's also really, really cool in that we studied Black women millionaires pre-2000s to really show you what you can overcome and what you can do. So today we're talking about one such millionaire that I did not know about before studying her. And I'm really excited to bring her story to you today. But first, who am I? Because some of you may be new here. If it's your first time seeing me, drop a 1 in the comments. My name is Ashley Kirkwood, founder of Speak Your Way to Cash, $11 million in sales through that company, and a 2-time Inc. 5000 CEO. Every day this month, I'm telling the story of a Black woman millionaire before 1970 and pulling out the sales, scaling, and capital strategies you can use right now in your business. I think sometimes the reason we don't learn our history, the reason we don't go deep into it is because we don't realize how absolutely valuable it is to know that for what we're trying to do today. So we've already talked about land. We've talked about sisters who've owned real estate. We've talked about beauty empires. And today we're talking about the woman who started with the pressing comb and ended with the bank charter, Rose Meta Morgan. Any New Yorkers on the building? If you're a New Yorker, drop New York in the comments. Because New York, this your history, okay? This is to set it up in Harlem. But she lived in Chicago. So shout out to Chicago because I'm from Chicago. So let's start with the moment from her that most people would have just straight up quit. Rose Meta Morgan had a vision, okay? And it was to take a rundown Harlem mansion, people called a haunted house, and turn it into a full-service beauty complex for Black women. Spacious, elegant, and worthy of their dollars. But here's the thing. To make it happen, she needed serious money, tens of thousands of dollars in the 1950s. She estimated she needed about 40 grand. So here's what she did. She put together her plan and her numbers. She went to a bank, and what we're told is to do the smart thing. She asked for less than what she needed so that she could look reasonable to the bank. Now, how many of y'all know you need $250,000, $1 million to start your business, but when you go and start raising money, you set your goals way beneath that? That's what she did. She was trying to be reasonable. And even after being reasonable, they still told her no. Even with her business history, even with all the customers she had, because this sister started doing her hair. She started doing hair in somebody else's salon in Chicago. And then eventually she went to New York to do the hair of a legend. We'll talk about that a little bit later. When she got to New York, she fell in love with Harlem and started doing hair in a small, she had like booth rent in Harlem, but she was so popular and so good at what she did that she needed to get her own salon. She ended up hiring 5 stylists from getting her own salon and then needed an even bigger space because she didn't have space for all the demand. Like people were literally giving her their money to get their hair laid and she was crushing it every time. She ended up hiring other people. So she knew that she could fill a salon. She had the numbers for it. She had the data for it. She had everything that she needed. And this is where many of us hear no from the bank. So she only asked the bank for 25 grand. And when they told her no, most people would be like, okay, well, I'm going to just start a little bit smaller. I'm going to just stay and get this booth rent. Rose did the exact opposite. She took her plan, her track record, and her belief and walked out of that bank. Now, whole time one bank is telling her no, she's advising another banker on how he can get involved in the Harlem real estate game. So she goes to someone she has a relationship with who she's been helping for free. And how many of y'all have helped people for free? Comment free in the comments. She goes to him and says, hey, bro, I need a loan. And when he gave her some of the money and all the other money she needed to build this mega salon in Harlem, she was able to raise it from friends and family. So Rose Meta Morgan was born in Mississippi, raised in Chicago as one of 9 children. Her father went from sharecropping to running a small business. And that shift mattered because she grew up watching what it looked like to move from just working to actually owning. And I just want to say this to the parents because I have a father who's an entrepreneur. It literally made my life better. Like seeing my dad work, him taking me on in his car with his car phone in the 90s, watching him build a mortgage company into the millions of dollars, seeing him do business, working with other people, like all of that rewired my mind to like what work meant. I didn't have to see him clock in and clock out. Now, nothing's wrong with clocking in and out. I saw my mom rise through the corporate ranks. But some of you guys are thinking like, oh, I'm running this business. If I grow it too big, I won't be able to be with my children. Not realizing that your children actually need to see you work. They actually need to see you thrive. They need to see you build out loud. They need to see you following your dreams because you can't tell your kids, oh, baby, you could do anything. You could follow any dream. And they're like, well, mommy, why didn't you? Or daddy, why didn't you? Or what was your dream? Like, I think that modeling is far more powerful than telling. And so to every parent who's an entrepreneur who feels like, oh, well, if I don't, if I work too much, my kids are going to think this. If I work too much, you don't know what your kids going to think. You can spend all your time with your kids and they can still think some crazy stuff. Build your business, go after your dreams, and take them along for the journey. Christelle has spoken at our event in Atlanta, spoken at our event in Ghana. She saw me write a book. She's like, Mommy, can I write a book? She's like, can I speak at your event in London if we go back to London? Like, these are good things. So she learned hairdressing from her mom, but she learned entrepreneurship from her dad. She started doing hair as a teen, later went on to beauty school in Chicago, but her true training ground was neighborhood salons, renting a chair, winning clients one by one. In 1938, one styling opportunity changed everything. This is what we talked about about a little bit earlier. She was able to style the legendary entertainer Ethel Waters. And this is going to be a shift that some of y'all need. Some of y'all know that you need to move out of your hometown. If you know you need to move, comment move. When she visited Harlem, she felt the energy, saw the demand, and decided that she was moving. Okay? At first, she moved to Harlem and just took a chair in someone else's salon. But within months, she built such a loyal client base that she opened her own shop in the kitchen of a friend's apartment. When that got too crowded, she hired and trained stylists and moved out again. Her story up until this point is the story of so many of us. Start in a borrowed space, get paid less than you're worth, build such undeniable demand that you outgrow every room you're put in. Then she had the big dream. And some of you are right here, right now, and you have a big dream. So let's get back to this haunted house. She found kind of like a abandoned mansion in Harlem, and she partnered up with someone and signed a long-term lease on this neglected Harlem mansion that others had written off. When they saw a liability, she saw a campus. When the bank first told her no, she did something crucial. She went to a different banker, and she used her knowledge and reputation as a leverage. She got money from him, and then she had friends and family help her to raise the rest. On opening day of this 15,000 square foot beauty empire, she had 10,000 people lined up in the rain to go and see it. The wife of the mayor at the time cut the ribbon, and inside, Black women walked into luxury they weren't used to being invited to. The House of Beauty wasn't just a salon. It was multiple floors, thousands of square feet. It offered hair, facials, manicures, massages, wigs, services, and so much more. They even had a charm school and dressmaking department over the years, and it ended up having like a place for wig making and all of that. She ended up hiring throughout the course of her life over 3,000 people, most of whom were Black women. She didn't just rent chairs, she taught women the craft, taught them how to show up as professionals, gave them space. My beauty pros should really know about her. Elegant decor, uniformed staff, systems, and structure. This was a real business, not a side hustle. And so often, I've coached beauty professionals before, and one of the things that I've heard consistently is like, well, I want to get from behind the chair. I want to get from behind the chair. And the truth is, your mindset must shift from being a beauty pro to being a CEO. Once you make that shift, you can start seeing your skill set as the foundation, but not the cage. So you can build other avenues that are within the beauty industry, not just things that not just doing what comes from your hands. And I love my beauty pros. So I want y'all to really hear this story and be inspired. Clients came not only for hair, but also for community and connection and care. And each chair represented another woman earning money, feeding her family, and building her own book of business under Rose's roof. Now, for all the entrepreneurs that are watching this, if you have W-2 employees, I want you to write W-2, because I want to say something that I don't know a lot of us know. If you have W-2 employees, I want you to write W-2. If you're a solo entrepreneur, I want you to write solo. Here's what I learned in doing my digging. Only 2.5% to 4% of Black women-owned companies have W-2 employees, whether that's part-time or full-time. One of the things that I'm learning about and the trend that I'm seeing in all of the Black women millionaires that we've studied to date is that when they scaled their business, they almost instantly hired their own. And one of the reasons why I am a strong proponent for Black women scaling beyond $1 million, getting in that coveted 3% of women-owned businesses that have that have team members, is because we need to hire our own. We talk all the time about how toxic corporate is for Black women, but if we don't build corporations that can hold the skill set, the brilliance, and the power of Black women within them, how are we gonna keep asking these companies to do what they've never done? We need businesses that make more money. And do not kid yourself into thinking that it is not a piece of economic empowerment to build a business that makes a lot of money. Period. If you're a good person, all money is going to do is give you more resources to be good with. And all the studies show that when Black women get wealth, the world gets better. Really, when women get wealth, generally the world gets better because we give at a faster pace. And so I love Rose's story because she turned what some would deem a small gift of doing hair into an entire institution that fed other families. But her story gets wild. Okay? Because not only did she build this mega salon, this empire, this beauty campus for Black women, she wasn't done. She understood something that most of us are never taught. As long as somebody else controls the money, somebody else controls the terms. So she moved from owning a salon and a building to helping own a bank. In the 1960s, Rose Meta Morgan became one of the founders of and major shareholders of Freedom National Bank in Harlem. At the time, New York City's only Black-owned commercial bank. Why would a hairstylist want to own a bank? Well, because she saw a pattern. She was denied a loan when she was clearly a good bet. She watched Black families and entrepreneurs get turned away from loans or charged predatory terms. She knew the neighborhood had money, but the institutions refused to circulate it back into the community. So Freedom National Bank was built to fix those problems. They hosted credit education nights, walked people through how to protect their credit, and tried to be both bank and teacher. Think about this trajectory. She went from making like $5 a month or something, or $5 a week in a chair. She learned to sell and serve there, though. She then leased a building. She created jobs and systems there. Then she created a bank. She moved into controlling capital and making decisions. And at its height, it was controlling today's equivalent of about $110 million in assets. So it wasn't easy in any of that. And inevitably, what made the bank crumble was the fact that she was giving out loans to higher risk people, or higher risk business opportunities and higher risk mortgages that other banks wouldn't fund. So it made it difficult for her to get the backing of larger institutions. But she did it because her heart was for the community. Inevitably, her bank would have survived if she had more backing from bigger institutions to help it move forward. But what I love about this story is she went from being a beautician to owning a freaking bank that had $110 million in assets. That's the win. The fact that the bank wasn't able to survive, that's where the lessons come in about us getting more capital and doing what we need to do. So because she served people that the system deemed too risky, they carried a lot of risk at the bank, and eventually the bank went under. But that doesn't erase what she built. It exposes a simple truth. Black women are often asked to save everybody with less capital, fewer safety nets, and more eyes watching us to fail. Before we close, there's one more part of Rose's story I gotta name. Long before Freedom National, she went into a savings and loan venture with her husband. On paper, it made sense. Love, partnership, and business all in one. In reality, that relationship cost her. Biographers note that during the marriage, a portion of her wealth was lost or mishandled, and the marriage ended in divorce. She had to rebuild a lot from scratch. The details are pretty much private, but the pattern is clear. She could be disciplined, strategic, and brilliant, but still be pulled backwards by someone who did not manage the money the way she did. Now, this is not gossip. This is a warning and a lesson. Who you marry is a financial decision. I'm sorry. Can we say that on a Sunday? Who you marry is a financial decision. Your grind can be spotless, and his choices can still drain what you've built. You can love someone and still need legal, financial, and ownership protection. Today, Black women are more likely than any other group to be the main breadwinner or an equal earner in their marriages. At the same time, we hold far less wealth than white men and often use business ownership as one of the only levers to close that gap. So the Rose Meta Morgan story here is protect your equity. Protect your ownership, protect your future, even when working with someone that you love. You don't have to go in business with the person you're married to. Now, I do, but before we went into for-profit business together, my husband and I noted that we worked really well when we were working in nonprofit business together, when we worked in ministry at our church together, and we handled money well together. We've always had joint bank accounts. So do with that what you will, but I will tell you, sisters, especially sisters who are not already married, don't just look at 6 feet and 6 figures. You want to look at money management. Is this someone that you can really partner with? I want us to have love that doesn't hurt and that you don't need to recover from. I want to be an example of that kind of love. I feel like me and Chris are a really good example of that. My parents are a good example of that. His parents are a good example of that. But I just want to say to the woman who's like, there ain't no good man out there, stop confessing that. And for the woman who's dating someone who's watching this right now, and you know for a fact this isn't what you want, but you want to be married, do not allow your desire for marriage to blind you to the very real structural issues in your relationship. Because I'm talking about sisters, let me talk to the sisters. Brothers, close your ears. If he ain't good with his money, he won't be a good partner in money in the relationship. If he is verbally abusive, that will not change because he marries you. If he is not an integral and character-filled man, you becoming his wife does not change that. I married my husband for his character. And since the day I've said I do, almost 15 years ago, his character has remained a constant. He has been someone I can rely on, someone I can trust. He's not jealous of me. He does not self-sabotage me. That type of love still happens. And we got to talk about this because no matter who you're in partnership with, the moment you open yourself up romantically to someone, you are also opening up mental space to that person, and it can be very harmful if you do not choose wisely. So if you are not married and you are dating and you see some structural issues in the relationship, I ain't saying leave, but I am saying don't close your eyes to them. Get some therapy. Don't be blind to it, because marriage does not fix all wounds. Okay? Like, you are marrying another human being. Find out where his mom and them from, what they do. Go meet his family. Do not, especially if you're marrying after you've already built something, it is very critical that you are selective. Okay? That you are selective and you don't make any decisions based on desperation. If a relationship costs you money, time, energy, your peace, and your self-confidence, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So what can this teach you? Maybe you've been told you can't launch until you have capital. Maybe you've been told you can't hire until you get funding. Maybe you've been told you can't scale until a bank or investor says yes. Rose Meta Morgan's life says, start with what you can sell today. She started with a chair, not a line of credit. She perfected her craft and built a loyal client base and made her receipts undeniable. Let your results become your collateral. When the first bank told her no, she took her track record to another bank. Clients, revenue, reputation, to someone who knew Harlem and knew her. Your work, your testimonials, and your demand are a part of your leverage, but you gotta tell the story. You can't be afraid to actually tell this. Let me use this. You cannot be afraid to actually tell that story. You have to tell the story of what you've been doing, the people you've helped, how you've helped them. You're not bragging, sis. Like, tell your story. Do not be afraid to say who you are. Let me tell you something I told them yesterday. I did a speaking engagement yesterday for a friend of mine. And it was amazing. One of the things I told them is that people think because I'm confident, I'm not humble. But that's not true. I just don't have low self-esteem. Humility says I'm willing to learn. Low self-esteem says I'm nothing. I know I'm not nothing, but I am willing to learn. So I'm humble, but I don't have low self-esteem. And when you even look at the definition of humble, it's like not a very solid definition. I'm gonna let y'all look that up. But so many of us are walking around here like we're nothing, pretending that it's humility. That is not humility. Humility is knowing when to submit to knowledge. Humility is not pretending you ain't got no knowledge. And if you can only learn from someone, like if someone is constantly threatened by the fact that you have power and that you know who you are, they are not the person to teach you. Like, get a mentor who is so sure of themselves that they can handle the fact that you are a big personality, that you have a big calling on your life. Stop submitting to people who don't even know who you are and let alone who they are. So their insecurity is always leading them like, really, we're done with that. So don't get it twisted. You are not being not humble or whatever because you're telling people who you are. Just tell people who you are. Like, the reason why some businesses don't grow is because no one even knows they exist, let alone knows how absolutely incredible they are at what they do. If you know you need to get louder about your business, your receipts, and your experiences, comment louder in the comments. The third lesson we can get from her is that you should be using relationships and community capital strategically. She didn't just pass the hat. She combined one banker's yes with friends and family support to close the gap. That's not charity, that's community investing. So she wasn't like, I need friends and family to support me. She had a plan. She was like, I want you all to invest in me. That's very different. If someone gives me an opportunity to invest in a business, that's saying to me, this is an opportunity for you to come alongside me as an investor. So many people, especially small business, are like, well, no one's supporting me. It's like, well, you can, look, in business, it's not my client's job to support me. It's my job to provide services that support their goals. And in finding and providing and explaining how our services support their goals, they buy, not to support me, but to support them. You have to have an abundance and a giver's mindset to grow a business. That means that when you are promoting your business, it can't be you-centered. It has to be them-centered. What you're gonna teach them, how you're gonna tell them to go to the next level. That is gonna get them to support themselves by buying your offer. For-profit businesses solve problems. That's what we're here for. But in order to be a problem solver, you have to stop walking around like you are a problem attractor. Every problem that is attracted into your life is giving you the opportunity to find a way to solve it, because that's going to build your CEO skill set. Otherwise, don't go into business. If all you want to do is have problems, then be a consumer. And then you could just buy all the problems. You can just buy all the solutions. But if you want to actually be someone who solves problems, then you're going to have to think about, how can I solve first my own problems and then help somebody else? None of my clients are supporting me, to be clear. And I'm very clear with that. I'm clear with that with them. They clear about that with themselves. Like, they ain't here. Oh, I just want to support Ashley. Like, they like me now that I've helped them. That makes sense. But like, they're not here to support me. They're here to support their businesses through the services and products that I supply. Think beyond. Here's the fourth lesson. Think beyond getting paid to building infrastructure. The House of Beauty was income, but it was also a training ground and a jobs engine. The bank was profit, but it was also a powerhouse for giving education to the community. Your goal is not just invoices, it's assets and systems. And then 5, you want to choose partners who protect your vision. Romantic partners, business partners, financial partners. All of that is critically important. Let me ask you this. How many of you have goals to grow this year? Comment grow. If you have goals to really grow your business in 2026, I'm going to give you the cheat code. Number 1, don't let people waste your time with conversation that brings you down mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. If the only time your friends are calling you is to gossip, you need to get rid of them for your season of growth. Now, I'm not saying tell them, oh, I'm never going to talk to you again, but I'm saying, hey, limit the conversation. You need to tap in and focus. If people are calling you and all they have is problems, and this is, and my knee hurt, and my toe hurt, and my this hurt, and my that hurt, you need to figure out, what is my emotional capacity for the people I have in my life? People come to me with problems every day of the week. I literally sift through and figure out which of these problems is my responsibility. And if the answer is none of them, then I am going to be very clear about the fact that, hey, I can offer you this book as a solution, but I have to go. I do not have the emotional capital to sit around and discuss problems without solutions. That's not what I'm supposed to do. But to be clear, I'm on mission. And I need to talk to the woman who's always taken off mission with a call. You sit down to work, you get a phone call. Honey, that's called a distraction. You go and you start going to the gym, but the moment you start going, your car don't start. Baby, that's called a distraction. Take a Uber. Like, literally, you got to take your power back so aggressively in this year in order to make it. Even the news you consume needs to be different. The people you date needs to be different. I know my emotional budget. I am self-aware. So I do not sit around and complain about things all day. There's some issues that come up, and I would love to call a friend and just talk about the problem, but I felt like that problem doesn't deserve that much of my emotional budget. So I'm not even gonna call nobody and talk about it, because it ain't even worth it. Because, like, ew, it don't deserve that from me. You need to know what your emotional budget is, and you need to take care of yourself this year. And when I say take care of yourself, you need to spend money on enjoying restful, renewing experiences. I'm so tired of us spending money on everybody and everything else. But when it comes to you wanting to go and get your foot rubbed or do something else, you ain't got it. That's because you are not valuing your self-care. But the reason why you're not valuing it is because you don't see it right. See, here's what I learned. I'm going to see if y'all on Instagram can see this, because sometimes y'all be left behind. Y'all be like, I can't see the screen. Can y'all see the screen? Okay, let's see if we can get Instagram to see this. All right. Okay. Can y'all see this? IG, let me know if you see a green scribble. All right. Here's the thing. You need to understand that this is you. Okay? This is you. And you, right now, are going to work every day. Let's say this is work. And let's say at your job, you make $65,000 a year, okay? Now, if you are making $65,000 a year at your job, boom, you are the vehicle through which that income comes back into your house. So by protecting you, you're protecting $65,000 worth of income. But let's say you also take care of your kids, little babies over here. Now you're protecting $65,000 worth of income and the care for your children. Here's what I don't think people really understand. Self-care, your budget what you spend on self-care should be commiserate with your responsibilities. If you had like a truck transportation business and you knew that truck was going to be carrying $20 million worth of inventory, you would make sure that truck was bulletproof. You would spend all the money to make sure it had good tires. You would do all the things. Well, you, my friend, are the vehicle by which your family gets income, by which your kids get taken care of, by which all of that comes back into the house. Put together a budget this year for protecting you, not just as an individual, but as an asset. Are y'all hearing what I'm putting down? Like, you need to protect you as an asset. Sometimes you don't see it like that. You're like, no, I just need to, but I don't got it and I don't got this. No. The reason why you don't have it is because you don't see it like that. You see it like, I just need to do for everybody else, and then maybe one day somebody will save me. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you are more comfortable serving yourself into sickness than you are receiving rest and receiving pleasure and receiving enjoyment and receiving joy, that is a problem. You probably learned that somewhere. You probably saw your mama work real hard, your daddy work real hard. You probably at dinner time talked about how tired you were. You're used to going to family events where everybody is talking about their knee hurt and this hurt and diabetes and that. You need to unlearn that. The reason why LeBron James spends millions on his body is because that is congruent with how much he's able to make with his body. Now, you may be making $65,000 and maybe $100,000. Some of y'all are seven-figure business owners watching this. And I tell people, they were like, how much did you spend on your sabbatical? $100,000. They're like, $100,000? I was like, yeah, last year it was 60. But they're like, that's a lot. I don't believe that. Yeah. But then I look at how much money I make for my company, how much the actual value, even if I didn't because everyone's like, oh, humans are priceless, and they are. But if I just look at the tangible value, if I analyzed what I'm able to bring into my household, like a bank would analyze whether or not they'd give me a loan, I'd be like, $100,000. Okay, we're gonna do what? 7-8 million. Even if on the low end we do 7-8 million this year, I'm like, okay, that's still worth it. That's totally worth it. I want you all to understand this. This is a business decision. Self-care is a business decision. We've romanticized it to mean bubble baths. That's not what it means when you're a leader. What it means is, what do I actually need to do tangibly to protect me as the vehicle for doing all the things that God has called me to do? I don't know what that budget is for you, but I do know you need one. And I also know you need to give yourself a break. And there's a difference between getting a massage when you do it every month to having a real structural self-care reset. If you go to the Ashley Nicole Show on YouTube, I talk about sabbaticals. I talk about having a reset. I talk about your emotional budget. I talk about having all of these things in place, because what people discount is when you grow, everything grows. So if I right now have 17 people that I'm paying every single month on payroll, if we scale the business 10x, maybe that goes to 40 people. Well, all the issues that come with running a 17-person company are going to increase when we increase the human capital that we're responsible for. So you need to make sure that you are protecting yourself. I totally look at it like protecting my investment. 100 million %. 100 million %. And I want us to have more elevated conversations. This is not about living a soft life. This is about living an impactful life. And that requires every single moment of your life. It can't be hard. I work hard, but I don't live a hard life. I don't have a soft life, but I have soft moments. I replenish myself as needed, and I really want us to do a better job of that this year and put money behind it, because everything else we value, we quickly put money behind. So, invest in yourself. Now, also, I think you need to come to Black Women Sell Live. It's a 3-day event. It's going to replenish you in a way that you don't even know you need. And it's happening in September. This is our biggest event. It's our most amazing event that we've hosted to date. I'm so excited. We have our speakers lined up. I'm just waiting on contracts to be signed before I announce. But you need to go to www.blackwomensellavent.com, and you need to get on the wait list. When you join the wait list for the ticket type you want. You can see what's included here. But if you don't know, just join the general wait list. Make sure you're on that wait list. We have limited tickets available at all levels, and we want you to get a ticket ticket for this event. Get a ticket for you, get a ticket for a friend, do what you got to do. When tickets release, we'll have payment options for you. They release on February 25th. So we're doing our rollout. It releases on February 25th, and I want to see you there. When you join the waitlist, you'll have an opportunity to apply to get off the waitlist early. Make sure you apply to get off the waitlist early if you know you want to come to the event and you want to be the first one to get access to tickets and all the bonuses that we have. For the first 100 people, we're doing a bonus coaching session with them before the event even takes place, and we want you in that. We want you to get all the goodies that come with coming to Black Women Sell Live before tickets sell out. If you are new here and you have not seen this yet, or you do not know who I am, I'm Ashley Kirkwood. I'm doing a 28-day series called Deleted from History, Black Women They Prayed You'd Never Know About. And I've been pretty committed to showing up live with you guys every single day, sharing the stories of Black women millionaires pre-2000s, pre-1950s and 60s typically, and just sharing the incredible things that they were able to do with dedication, grit, and expertise, because Black women experts really do and can change the world. If you're wondering, what is Black Women Sell Live? What's the point of the event? What's the vision for the event? The theme is Black Women, the Original Innovators. It is a sales training experience for Black women entrepreneurs, and this is our commercial for this year.
Mary Ellen Pleasant. How did she do it? Oh, I wish I could just screw myself.
Mary Ellen Pleasant? This can't be real.
Real or not, you've been carrying quite the load.
You see, wealth isn't always about what you keep. It's what you connect.
Ida be well?
When I wrote, I didn't just report, I revealed.
Right on time. So it wasn't luck. It was strategy. We have always been so innovative.
You're not starting something new, you're continuing something sacred.
I want to teach every Black woman business owner in the world about you.
When I started this company, it wasn't just about selling hair care. It was about dignity, independence, community. That's what real marketing does. It doesn't just sell, it lives.
See, a true sale is not made in the pocket, it's made in the heart. Now, you go on and sell live, not for the applause, but for the impact.
All right. So amazing, you guys. So we have had a great time today. I can't wait to see all of you at Black Women Sell Live. Hopefully you are on the wait list. Go to blackwomenselevent.com to get on the wait list, and I will see you there.